Abandoned church. Shit fire. Whoa, get it! What's good with y'all? It's your boy Ant, back on the video. Currently getting the car inspected, right? When this video goes up, I'll probably do the whole car reveal and yada yada yada. And I'll probably be vlogging my way back home. But, you know, like I said, 30 days of content, right? The grind never stops. It's gonna take 2 hours. So hopefully I can record a couple videos. Anyways, today, talking about how to budget. And yes, I am out in the open. Don't worry. I got a method. So this video is not gonna be just me rambling off and nothing else, right? Talking about how to create a budget, how to start budgeting and shit. If you're in high school, if you're in college, if you're in any situation, you need to be budgeting. You don't need to be, but if you're trying to get anywhere financially, you should be budgeting. So the first thing you want to do, you want to gain information, right? So you want to know how much you're making a month, how much you're making a year, how much income you're comfortably allowed to spend, right? If you go back to the previous video I talked about, when talking about that cushion area, like if you're making 5 bands a month, if you're making like 2 bands, 3 bands a month, but you don't want to spend all your bread, right? Count that much is how much you're spending. This is how much you're willing to safely spend. And all those factors, you want to get as much information as possible so that you know as much as possible about your finances, your income, and all that extra stuff, right? Second thing you want to do after you do that is visualize it, right? A lot of people think things are easier when they see them. The first thing I would suggest is spreadsheets. If you are like an Excel nerd or like you really like doing spreadsheets, making stuff really easy for you. If not, don't worry. I like to draw my shit out just because that makes me feel like I'm really in control of it, and it's not like all the calculations I gotta do in my head or like use a calculator, which is fine. But I'd much rather do that than have it on the Excel sheet, because if something happens to the Excel sheet, I'm like, damn, right? Third thing you wanna do, once you get to that point, is categorize your expenses and the things that you're saving for, right? If you're making 5 bands a month, 2,000 of that could be savings, so you categorize that as savings. 1,500 of that could be for wants. 1,500 of that could be towards like a trip, could be towards a car, could be towards some car parts, something like that. And the rest of that could just be for investing or something like that, yada yada yada. But be sure you categorize that. And it's the same thing with your expenses too. You want to know how much you're spending on a category of expenses, right? If you're spending $200 a month on groceries, you want to know that. If you're spending $1,500 a month on car parts, you need to know that, because when you look at your spreadsheet throughout if you use a card or whatever, it's gonna if it doesn't automatically categorize it, it's gonna look confusing when you see purchase, and you might not know or remember where that's from. So you should always categorize in that, or know where that's from, so you can be better informed about what you need to do. Fourth thing, come up with budget rules. There are a lot of rules that you can go out there. There's a 50-20-30 budget, 50% on needs, 20% on investing, 30% on wants. There's a whole bunch of rules out there, a whole bunch of like templates out there for budgeting and all the stuff that you can create, so that it becomes a lot easier for you and you can follow a guideline for the most part until you get comfortable enough to create your own stuff, right? And that's the biggest thing about it, is getting you comfortable with your own finances. So I'm not saying you have to do any of this. I'm just saying that this is something that you could do or should do if you feel like you want to go farther, or you want to be more in the know of what you're doing with your finances, and if you want to grow your finances more. If you were in like high school, college, something like that, something you got to keep track of. All right, these next set of budgeting tips are going to be a little more advanced, so the people that want to get more into it and get even deeper, this section is for you. Number one, making your own budgeting rules, right? So the 50-20-30 is good as a starter, but if you have a certain situation that only applies to you, then you can branch out. Me personally, I set aside $150 for an apartment. I set aside $50 into an emergency fund. I set aside another $50 to my high yield savings account. And then I set another $50 to invest $500 a month, right? My budget, if I go off the 50-20-30, I know that a part of the needs, instead of it just being 50%, I know that I can break it down to a certain percentage. It needs to be $500 for that type of stuff, right? I don't pay rent. I don't really get groceries like that. Things that I genuinely do need besides paying off credit cards. Second point, which is having multiple budgets. If you have multiple cards, if you have certain credit cards, you have certain things, and you can put different budgets on those different cards, right? For me, I have a Discover card, 1,800, but I only use the Discover card for my main subscriptions, right? And so yeah, my subscriptions aren't gonna charge like up to $700, but I know that at the very least I need to have at least $70 to like $100 in that account, so that I can afford my monthly charges and expenses before my credit card gets maxed out, right? And obviously that's not going to make a difference because I have an 1,800 credit score or 1,800 credit limit, but at the same time you want to be aware of that. So if you do make a big purchase, it's in the back of your mind, because that goes along with credit utilization. and that affects your credit score. Third point is budgeting for an activity. On a trip to Greece for like 2 weeks, let's say that shit comes out to $10,000, right? Okay, $10,000. When am I trying to have this trip? Trying to have this trip in like 6 months? Okay, cool. I'm making $5,000 a month. How much do I need to set aside to comfortably continue living my life and still afford that trip in 6 months, right? It's not very hard to budget. It just takes a lot of common sense and self-control. My last and final tip is whenever you're budgeting, just because you make a budget and it doesn't work, doesn't mean you have to stick to it. Adjust your budget to your needs, to your specific situation, because I'm trying to put you on game. I'm not trying to show you. I don't have any links or any things how I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm putting you on game on how you can do it yourself, because the biggest thing is being able to, and this goes along with being able to critically think, the ability to assess your situation and build something that helps you out personally without any exterior factors, right? The ability to build your own budget and handle your own money without help from anybody else or without somebody else telling you what to do. Because at the end of the day, it's your bread, it's your financial situation, and no matter, nothing that they say or nothing they do will ever or shouldn't ever affect the way you handle your finances, unless you're married, got kids, or both. That's it for this video. I hope my camera angle look, I mean, I'm kind of breaking out right now, but I hope the camera angle and the points I was saying got across, right? I'm talking and I'm also looking around at cars and shit. We're just waiting for my car to be finished. I'm trying to take this time to be proactive and make some videos, edit for you. Should have some good gems in there. Hope y'all take that. Trying to inform the rest of y'all too, especially if you're in high school, college, because nobody's teaching y'all this. If they are, that's fantastic, and I hope y'all stay with them and that person is good to you for the rest of your life. But a lot of people, including me, I wasn't taught about money, was taught about finances, taxes, none of that shit in high school, which is, I personally think that you should be taught, because that's going to the real world, but they're focused on how you act and your ability to listen and follow instructions like a clone, like a robot, right? But that's not how real life is. So let me come in and break the mold, right? Motherfuckers don't like me because of that, but hey, look, it is what it is. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I'll hit y'all next time.